who goes up from third to first. Nicholas Latifi can see the checkered flag to win in Formula 2. He is the winner at the Hungaroring.
Williams, and that is a bigger impact, and that's Nicholas Latifi.
Just over, he does the same thing here, just gets a wheel on the dirt, on the turn-in. There's a caution.
This is the tragic career of Nicholas Latifi. Chapter 1. The beginning of Nicholas Latifi. So there were many great things introduced to the world in the year 1995, such as the BMW Z3, the Ferrari F50, and even the Daihatsu Move. But most importantly, in Canada, Montreal, on the 29th of June, Nicholas Daniel Latifi was born. Now, luckily for Nicholas, he was born into a very nice, small family business. His father, Michael Latifi, owned this business called Sofina. Now, Sofina actually produces ham, fancy ham, chicken dips, bacon, and even coffee, which makes the Sofina company quite valuable. Even Nicholas's mother, Mariana Latifi, is actually connected to the Saputo family, which own the Saputo company, which makes a lot of cheese and lots of butter. And they are very good at selling cheese and butter. Now, what does this all mean for Nicholas Latifi? It actually means growing up he had a very nice packed lunch. Chapter 2. Time to go racing. Now, at the late age of 13, in 2008, Nicholas Latifi signs up to Formula Kartways in Canada. Now, apparently it's very difficult to get into Formula Kartways. Lots of people try to get in, but they can't get in because it's a lot of money, the spaces are full. Luckily, Michael Latifi talked to the owner, David Tennyson, and said, look, if I give you lots of ham sandwiches, will you allow my son Nicholas to drive? And David said, yeah, I'll even become his coach. And that's exactly what happened. I'll never forget it. Looking inside the helmet, you look at Nicholas's eyes. Even at his first big go-kart race, there's no expression. This is David talking, by the way, this isn't me. This is just what he said. Latifi was calm, but he had talent, his feel, the ability to intuit what the go-kart was about to do. The instant before it did it was incredible. Now, from what I can gather, Nicholas Latifi was so good at go-karting that in 2012, he went on to win the Florida Winter Tour. And that same year, Nicholas actually got into Formula 3, which is a remarkable achievement. He even got on the podium a few times, and even won at the Vallelunga circuit. And from there, our boy went on to achieve greatness. 2013, the British Formula 3 Championship, gets on the podium, celebrates his 18th birthday, drives in the Toyota Racing Series, doesn't get on the podium once, but does score 503 points, comes 9th in the series. 2014, enters into more racing events than ever before, racing in Formula 3, the Renault 3.5 Series, and the Porsche Carrera Cup. Secures P2 at Silverstone in Formula 3, does the Ice Bucket Challenge, then dominates at the Florida Winter Series, getting 4 wins and 7 podiums. Manages to get a seat at the end of GP2 season, getting 22nd and 17th place. 2015, carries on racing in the Porsche Carrera Cup and GP2. Stops racing in the Formula 3, starts racing more in GP2. Has some more fun competing in the Mazda Winterfest. Does some drifting on some ice in an Evo. 2016, gets a full seat in the Team Dams in GP2, gets P2 and P7 in the first 2 races, gets a job as a test driver for F1 Renault, has dinner with the family, goes for a bike ride, retires in GP2 series 3 times in a row, loves driving the V8 F1 car, loves it so much that he does donuts in the V8 F1 car, takes a picture with his dad, continues to fall behind in GP2 series, goes drifting in the snow in an M3, goes on a camel ride with his mum, comes 16th in GP2 Series. GP2 Series is rebranded as Formula 2. 2017 he enters into Formula 2. Chapter 3. The good times. Formula 2 is like a very nice championship to be in. There isn't really the pressure of Formula 1, doesn't have any of the brand deals or the silly marketing stuff. It's all about the racing and trying to get into Formula 1. So it's a lovely championship to be in. But annoyingly in 2017, an up-and-coming driver from Monaco named Charles Leclerc dominates the season, getting a crazy 282 points. Meanwhile, Nicholas Latifi actually came 16th in 2016, but made a dramatic improvement, now becoming 5th.
Does he go late on the brakes? Now is the time for Nicholas Latifi to take second place.
With 9 podiums and even coming first at Silverstone.
To take victory, Nicholas Latifi wins in Formula 2 ahead of Luca Ghiotto.
Last year was quite difficult for me in the races, a bit difficult to understand the Pirelli tires. We did a lot of work with the team to try and improve my understanding. The team improved the car a lot as well, and we went from being one of the slower ones in the races to being arguably one of the quickest ones, always finishing on the podium.
2018, a new season means new drivers. George Russell and Lando Norris enter into the season, dominate it. They come first and second. Nicholas Latifi came 9th that season, worse than last season, but he still persists with Formula 2. Now in 2019,
he can go all the way around the outside, and that is an outstanding way. And now he can see the checkered flag. Nicholas Latifi wins in Formula 2.
He gets 2 first place victories straight off the bat.
Here comes Nicholas Latifi into the braking zone. Is he going to be able to take second place? Could be contact. That was so close. Nicholas Latifi to win for the second time in Formula 2 in 2019. Should keep the foot in, but that is spectacular stuff from Nicholas Latifi. Today just belongs to your winner, Canada's Nicholas Latifi.
A bit of a rocky Monaco race.
That's Nicholas Latifi very close to hit the wall. Oh, who's spinning here? Who's falling down the order? Nicholas Latifi. Latifi jumps to the pits, Joe, and Virtuosi.
Back on the podium for Silverstone.
To win in Formula 2, he is the winner at the Hungaroring. And this should be second place for Nicholas Latifi.
And by the end of the season, he came second.
Yeah, I'm a bit emotional right now.
You are a little emotional. I can see some tears in your eyes, Nicholas Latifi.
Yeah, it's not sad. Well, a bit of sadness, but because I'm leaving my team. I've been with them for 4 years. They've given everything for me, so I'm sad to say goodbye, but I just can't thank them enough for everything they've done.
What a pleasure to watch you race, Nicholas. Good luck in F1. Don't cry. It's happy news. It's happy tears.
Chapter 4. The door to Formula 1. See, the door to Formula 1 is quite heavy. Not everyone can open this door. Most of the time there's 2 keys opening this locked door. You are either so talented that the door swings open and you can just jump right through. So that would be key number 1. Or you're super fortunate enough that, you come from a background of extreme wealth and you just pay to get in. And that would be key number 2. Despite Nicholas Latifi's insane season, he is definitely that number 2 key. Now, the team that all the ham sandwiches covered was the Williams team in Formula 1. And at the time, they, were struggling to keep the lights on. So Williams actually hatched a deal with Michael Latifi, and in exchange for £30 million worth of ham sandwiches, Nicholas Latifi can be their second driver, which is actually a pretty good deal. Williams get a driver that is capable of driving a Formula 1 car. Then you've got the idea that he just came second in the Formula 2 Championship, which is pretty good. So on the 28th of November 2019, it was officially announced that Nicholas Latifi would be joining Williams at F1. An amazing 12-year career driving in Formula 3, Formula 2, running 3.5 Series, the Porsche Carrera Cup, the Toyota Racing Series, the Mazda Winterfest. He's finally in the best racing series in the world.
We're now on board with Nicholas Latifi in the Williams. His first ever qualifying session is going to end up right at the back, I'm afraid.
And the problem that Latifi had, Williams just didn't really have a competitive car that year. Race after race throughout 2020, George Russell and Nicholas Latifi didn't score any points for Williams. This was actually the worst season in Williams' history. And I actually remember watching the season of 2020. They had this car called the FW43. Very exciting looking name, you know, FW43. And that car was really underperforming in all areas. It was just a terrible car. And whenever you would cut to the Williams or something had happened to the Williams, it was either a collision or caused by absolutely nothing, like a gust of wind.
Behind the safety car, George Russell out as well.
Any kind of like dirty air would cause the car just to go flying, which made it unpredictable for the two drivers, George Russell and Nicholas Latifi. And it was around the end of 2020 and 2021 when people started to sort of question what is going on with Williams and who's the problem, because George Russell actually managed to get into a Mercedes seat. He demonstrated that he was actually a very good, capable driver.
Into the first turn, and George Russell takes the lead.
And it can't be Williams, such an amazing history, and they've won so many races. There was a lot of fingers pointing at a certain person. 2021 was a lot different. Nicholas Latifi is a bit more confident. He's a bit more grips to the situation of Formula 1. Suddenly he's doing little brand deals, you know, he's doing some weird press interviews, all of a sudden from nothing to loads of stuff. And the Williams car actually saw a dramatic improvement.
This is part of an evolution, it's part of the journey. We want to try and make some inroads into the gaps above us, but you know, we have to be realistic as well. You know, haven't got the opportunity to suddenly jump, but we want to be competitive, we want to be racing at the back, and we want to be putting some of the teams around us under a lot of pressure, and that's our aim really.
And no doubt this is really helped by their new investors at Williams called Dorton Capital, which is a very miserable looking name. Annoyingly, 2021 was quite dominated by this little rivalry going on at the front of the grid by Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. And George Russell and Nicholas Latifi throughout the season pretty much were on par for points. By the end of the 2021 season, on the last race, something Williams nor Latifi or me or anyone really expected to happen at all. Chapter 5. The showdown of 2021. So it all comes down to this very last intense race in this little rivalry going on at the front of the grid. And right at the back of the grid, Nicholas Latifi managed to get P16, which is fantastic because that meant he was ahead of Russell, he was ahead of Kimi Raikkonen, Schumacher and Mazepin. So let's actually try and comprehend what's going on throughout this race in Latifi's mind.
We've been waiting for this all season long. The finale, the title decider, under the lights here in Abu Dhabi. It's lights out, away we go, and Hamilton gets a decent start, and he's all...
So this is your final chance, the final race of the season. A lot of questions obviously being asked. Should you be in F1? Should you be in Formula 1?
And it's all come to an end, not just for him, but for George Russell as well. Both out of this race.
Russell is currently out with a gearbox issue. You're the only person in Williams representing Williams now.
Need to use, so they have that option of a new set.
If you can't beat the rookie driver,
All unfolding in front of him.
why should you be there if you can't beat Mick Schumacher?
His advantage. He was told by his engine
Either to push a bad car to its limits and risk everything to overtake Schumacher, or keep it safe, trying not to crash, to be mocked and disgraced, and stick behind Schumacher. I think it's quite clear that he went for the second choice.
Spectacular stuff from Nicholas Latifi. Nicholas Latifi wins in Formula 2.
So he fought Schumacher, getting forced off the track, picks up dirt on his rear tyres, still very committed at this point, tries to keep up with the Haas car, and then crashes. 5 laps before the end of the race, of the championship decider. Nicholas Latifi causes a safety car, which all directly impacted the FIA decision making.
Time ever is champion of the world.
And Nicholas Latifi, unaware of what could happen, shares a picture with him and George Russell, saying, see you later, George Russell. It was a fun, time. You have a good time at Mercedes, because he's going to Mercedes now. And a lot of those upset people who wanted Hamilton to win, they actually looked for blame. Most social media posts by Nicholas Latifi would average like 100 comments, maybe 200 comments. Everything of Nicholas Latifi's reputation was built up suddenly. The crash by Nicholas Latifi, the fact that he was a paid driver, and then you've got the idea that he crashes throughout the season and the past season. Even all the media outlets put the spotlight on Nicholas Latifi. And then you've got someone like Christian Horner who then thanked Nicholas Latifi.
Thank you, Nicholas Latifi, for that safety car.
And all of that led up to something crazy. It was reported that there was around 50,000 comments on this one post. I don't know what they said. The post was deleted, but they were all kind of threats towards Latifi, or put the blame on Latifi. People actually came up to him physically and said it. Headlines came out about him getting death threats and he had to hire bodyguards. You know, the F1 community came together and said, look, we need to show that we support Nicholas Latifi. So they sent lots of nice comments and nice posts to Nicholas Latifi. And that all really started at the end of 2021.
Real tight battle with the Haas then, and it just looked like you lost the control of the car.
Yeah, I mean, we went off the track when we were side by side, two untoward there, but yeah, when I went off, the tires were really, really dirty and obviously a really tricky area for us to follow. So yeah, it was absolutely not how I intended to end the season. So yeah, really just apologies to the team for that. Again, I don't know how the race was unfolding beforehand, but I mean, it obviously created an opportunity at the end. So yeah, but that was obviously not my intention.
It's tough end to the season, but still you've got plenty of positives to look back on.
Yeah, plenty of positives, but it's definitely a sour taste in the mouth. I mean, it's not what I was hoping for at all. So yeah, just very disappointing.
Chapter 6. Latifi. I can't actually think of another driver, let alone another sports person, in which the Latifi situation actually can be applied to. It's such a really weird, rare occurrence that I don't think has ever happened before. And I actually tried to trace the origin of when he got the nickname Latifi. Started to appear just before the start of the 2021 season, and then it spiked around the end of the season in Abu Dhabi. And to make things super clear, the word Latifi is a direct insult towards Latifi. Straight up. There's no, like, ambiguity. At first, it was used as this direct insult to show, like, you're such a bad driver, you're good at it, it's funny. And that is when this image was given birth. And surprisingly, it's actually very hard to tell who exactly made it, when it was actually made, and where it was first published. The origin actually is quite unknown, as no one's actually taken any credit for it. I did a bit of digging, and on the 11th of December 2021, a day before the Abu Dhabi race, this post was made. And as far as I can see, that was the first instance where this image came online. The day after the Abu Dhabi race, that image just spread across social media. And so the season of 2022, Nicholas Latifi started to have the nickname of Latifi given to him. It was mainly by the F1 community, so the online social media platforms and not so much media outlets. Hats, t-shirts, mugs, even pillows were made by third-party sellers on like platforms like Etsy, and they still sell them today. I think Williams were definitely aware of how it was being used, but they took no part in creating any profit out of it. They never, took advantage of, we've got this meme going around, we can sort of make loads of money, but they didn't do that. There was hundreds of posts, comments, even videos, and they were all of this at this point was still that direct insult towards him. People in the F1 community, love this kind of stuff. It was quite easy to share and people would react to it. It would even be more highlighted than the actual winner of the race. It was no coincidence by the start of the season of 2022, Latifi signs up to be the partner in Cyber Smile, which is an online anti-bullying awareness program.
Positive step forward. It just means that Nicky is going to have to wait one more race to France to get that update.
But does the Latifi need it? Because even without it, made it through to Q3, got his elbows.
There was a slight shift in perspective, I'd say. when Nicholas Latifi took part in the Hungarian Grand Prix. During free practice, Latifi actually set the best time, the best record, even beating out Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. This actually caused the crowd to go wild. They cheered and clapped for me. Even Latifi was surprised.
That was a good effort, and we are boxing.
And for the first time, the Latifi name on social media wasn't used in a negative light. And it was weird because the name Latifi sort of went back on itself. Suddenly there was I knew that Latifi could be this good. Haas even shared the image of Latifi, on their socials. And that weekend, it felt like that negativity was going off the Latifi name. It seemed like it was changing. But it all came back when he got P18. This actually sparked a conversation for him to stay in Formula 1. So through the summer break, there was this sort of conversation going on. The talks of Latifi being replaced, someone like Alex Albon coming in, which sort of allowed the Latifi name to regain its negative connotations. So that this is in Singapore on a stage. The crowd actually shouting "Latifi." It isn't being said in like a negative way, but it has that very odd feeling towards it. I'm not one of those people who can sort of tell body language. I don't have that gift. It doesn't take an expert to clearly see that these are quite fake smiles and laughs for the cameras and crowd. I really think the term Latifi is kind of like a Trojan horse. Kind of. Although on the surface it looked like it was positive, saying Latifi is the greatest of all time, the reality is that it's still making a mockery of Latifi. And that all links back to the death threats in 2021 Abu Dhabi. In no way am I saying that jokes about underperforming drivers should be banned. I think this is like an example of when jokes are taken too far. Within the GOAT itself, the Latifi name, there is this sort of like hidden aggression towards Latifi. And I think none of those death threats really went away. I think they sort of morphed and changed into the Latifi name. And during the 2022 season, it was just hidden in plain sight. And I don't think all the fans realised what it all meant. Miscommunication across, different languages. People may think it's praising Latifi. It just got all miscommunicated across all different platforms. On a positive light, I think that the negativity of it all has sort of faded. I don't think when you say Latifi now on social media that it has that negative connotation. I think people now say it in like a respectful and more positive light. Kind of like the feeling of the Hungarian Grand Prix. There's never that sort of aggression towards Latifi. It's kind of changed, and since his departure in Formula 1, he hasn't actually gone racing. He even made a little statement looking at different avenues, and I think he's going to do like a London degree.
Yeah, obviously, today itself didn't go very well, obviously.
And when you step back and look at what the treatment Latifi got over those 3 years of racing in Formula 1.
Started to lose the dash, the comms, and I got a lot of smoke coming through the cockpit, so I was just waiting for a fire to start, really.
He ultimately just wanted to race.
But yeah, in the 3 years with Formula 1, obviously, I've been very grateful.
In his first year, he got given a terrible car.
More difficult moments than positive moments.
He then had a year of trying to fight to stay in that car in 2021.
No doubt I'm leaving F1 feeling like I had more to, like I wanted to achieve more, I wanted to accomplish more, but
just to be then mocked by the end of the season.
Made some great bonds along the way here, and I'll try and remember those, and focus on those positives.
And then he got abuse for it in this hidden name of Latifi.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to work with you and hope to see you definitely again. Thank you.